How to make more money driving for ride shares such as Uber, Lyft, making runs for GrubHub, and other delivery type services. There are many ways, such as maximizing your revenues, and you want to try to minimize your costs. Number one is trying to save money on fuel. Outside of your time, giving up your opportunity cost, your next biggest expense is fuel. So how can we maximize your fuel savings? First thing is to pick a vehicle that is as reliable and as efficient as you possibly can get. Now, Uber has programs where they will provide or purchase a vehicle for you if you work for them. You can look into those different methods, but for example, you can lease a brand new Toyota Corolla right now for approximately $175 a month. I think that's for a 2 or 3 year lease. So you can make definitely more than that in a given week driving for Uber or Lyft. So a Toyota Corolla averages about 38 miles a gallon on the highway, gets around somewhere 30, 32 in the city. So that's step number one, get a vehicle that is efficient and reliable. Next thing is, how do you save money on fuel outside of an efficient vehicle? Well, try to buy your fuel on a credit card that gives you a percentage back. You can find cards that will pay you up to from anywhere from 2, as I've seen, as high as 5% on your fuel purchases. For example, the Sam's Club MasterCard pays 5% cash back on fuel purchases up to $6,000 in a given year. The next below that would be the Verizon Visa card, which right now is 4% cash back on fuel and gas station purchases. And I don't believe there is a limit on that 4%. After paying on a credit card, you can download the GetUpside app. I'll put my referral code down below so you can get a sign-up bonus once you first use that. So definitely take advantage of that. But you simply link a credit or debit card. You enter in the first 6 digits and the last 4 of your card into the app. You go in, pick an offer, claim that offer within 4 hours after you pick it. Choose the card you paid with, and then you get cash back into the app within 2 to 4 days, and you can use that money on gift cards. You can get a check, cash out to PayPal. And after using a credit card that gets percentage back using the GetUpside app, the next thing you want to do is reduce as much weight in your vehicle as you possibly can. So for example, there's only an 8% probability that you're going to need to use a spare tire in your vehicle. And I'd say you could even get that down to 2 to 5% if you make sure your tire pressures are on point and do a pre-trip inspection every day. Spare tire and jack weighs approximately per vehicle, depends on the vehicle, but anywhere from 25 to 100 pounds, just depending on what you're driving. So get out as much stuff in your vehicle, reduce as much weight as possible. Just removing the spare tire and jack alone is going to save you 1 to 2% on your fuel. So and for example, if your vehicle has a third row of seats that you never use, take out that third row of seats. That's 100, 150 pounds or even more, depending on the vehicle. And if you yourself as an individual, if you're overweight, obese, try to reduce your body weight. Every little pound, every ounce takes away from your fuel economy, which is your biggest overhead. Next would be to maintain your vehicle as best as you can. Make sure your oil changes, oil filter changes, air filter, your tire pressures. You need to be doing a pre-trip inspection every day you go out, before you go out, as far as just do a walk around, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure your tires aren't low on air. But at least once a week, check your PSIs, your air pressures and your tires, check your oil level. And make sure every aspect of your vehicle's maintenance is on point. Dot every I, cross every T. And make sure your transmission fluid and filter is serviced regularly. Your differential fluids are serviced regularly. It's not just your oil and your tires. It's all aspects of your vehicle's maintenance. All of this will lower your vehicle's rolling resistance, will increase your fuel economy, and fuel prices are only going to go up. And that's an absolute fact, which is your greatest overhead. Other things that you can do to increase your revenues, and that I would say is to primarily drive during surge hours, which is evenings, nights. For example, if you live in a city where there's lots of partying going on, say from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., maybe you only work in that time window where those are when surge rates hit. And when you're driving during surge times, which is usually from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., basically when all the drunk people are going home, for example, that is when you're going to see the highest margins, your highest return on your investment for hours worked participating in a ride share. So if you can focus your hours during the busiest time windows, you're going to make the most, you're going to get the best return on your investment. Another way would be to, if you have or have access to a nicer vehicle, for example, a very nice Mercedes or a Range Rover, you can participate. I think it's in the Uber X program where you're catering to a higher income bracket of individual. They pay more to be picked up in a nicer vehicle. They want to try to maintain a certain image, a certain level of status. You can definitely increase your margins and your return on your time driving in that category. Next would be to try to increase your tips. Now, a rider or a person using, say, Uber Eats, they can tip pretty much custom. They can tip however much or how little they want. And how you're going to increase your tips is to increase your value, the value that you provide. For example, if you are delivering an Uber Eats order, maybe you bring a few dog biscuits when you're coming up to the front door. Maybe you notice the owner has a few pets in the house. Maybe you give the owner a few dog biscuits for their animals in their house. Or if you're driving some riders and they get in your car, maybe they've had a night of drinking, a night out of partying on the town. Maybe you have a basket of bottled water there in the middle of the seats in the back where they have free bottled water. It's something that's low cost to you, but it will be of value to them. They've been out drinking and they're on the way home. They'd like to have a nice cool bottle of water. Now it's up to you whether or not you'd want to have snacks in the back seat. I would not recommend that because, people, especially if they're intoxicated, they're going to be spilling food in your vehicle. And above all things, you want your vehicle to be as clean and as polished as possible, inside and out. Very important. Cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say. So I would steer away from food. That's up to you. And I have also seen Uber drivers where they would put in their own customized, handwritten thank you card and say their Uber Eats bag, and just thanking for their patronage, and maybe have a couple of mints in with that thank you card and envelope. All of these small things will absolutely increase your tips. And maybe you're well-dressed, well-groomed, very friendly. Smile, be as positive as you can with your interactions with your customers. All of these things will absolutely increase your tips. Other ways you can increase your revenues. I'd say number one, we talked about driving and delivering during the busiest time windows or the surge hours. Very much like a long haul truck driver who is paid by the mile. The most important thing when you're driving for a rideshare service is, the great thing about it is you can choose when you work, what routes you're going to take. You can pick and choose, make your own schedule, work when you want, choose to turn on the app whenever you want to work. You want to maximize the return on investment of those hours. You want to make sure when you are logged into that app and are on call working, you want your tires continuously turning. You want to minimize your idle time. Very, very important. You don't want to be sitting and waiting for riders, for food orders. You want to have your tires turning as much as possible. So try to systemize your time windows, and it's going to vary where you live, depending on if there are any lockdowns, for example. It's going to depend on what's going on. Minimize your idle time. Make sure that when you are logged in working, your tires are rolling. Very, very important. It'll make your time go by faster. It'll increase your return on investment. So, in short, we talked about the things to increase your tips. We talked about driving during the busiest time windows and surge times. Take a look at UberX. Stay on point with your vehicle maintenance and its reliability and efficiency. Save money on fuel, which is your biggest overhead. Try to buy with a credit card that gives you cash back. Use the GetUpside app, gives you cash back as well. Check out the promo code to get a sign-up bonus with that down below. Tap the thumbs up icon, the bell icon, subscribe to the channel, helps out. Hope you enjoyed the video and got some value from it. Share it as well. Have a great day.